Hello, sweet friend. My name is Maike, and in this video, I would like to journal with you. And for a change, we're not working in my Passport TN weekly. We are working in my Midori one day, one page in the A6 size, which is new to me this year. And I thought it might be fun to share these two pages in particular with you because on this side, I think we're going to do some drawing, and then here we're going to have some photos and stickers and a little bit of collaging going on. So it's a nice spread with lots of different things happening, different mediums, and yeah, I just think that's maybe fun to see. And as always, if you're just here for the cozy companionship while you are journaling, that's fine too. So yeah, let's get started. I already cut out the photos that I thought I might use for this page. This is going to be a new pen day spread. And I have one with, me just holding the pens, and then one with the pens on my pen case. And just based on the size, we'll just do one. And then the other one can go in my ink journal. I think it's nice to keep track of your pens too in your ink journal. Let me know if you have an ink journal. Do you keep track of your pens as well, or do you keep that in a separate notebook? Let me know. So yeah, I got two new sailors. Well, one was secondhand and the other one was new. So yay, that was fun. I rarely have a double pen day. That is not the usual, so we can celebrate that. And I think, was that part of January? I made a new pen day cat. If not, I'm sure I can find a cat with a pen. Yeah, maybe that'll be faster. I'm sure it is faster. And then in terms of the drawing that I mentioned on this side, I have bought two clothing pieces on Facebook Marketplace. I have quite a bit of experience with selling things on Marketplace, but I've never bought anything. So that was a new experience, a good one. I got a really good deal on two pieces that I really, really love. I started out with buying some things that from brands that I kind of know my sizing, because at least with the ones that I bought, and where are all the pen cats? Where are you hiding? In the back, probably. You're just making us flip through this whole thing. I really think I should have this in like a ring system with little tabs. But here we go. Yeah, this could look cute. I mean, this one is a little bit more green, but that's almost that yellow color, more or less. So yeah, we could use that one. I guess I'm starting on this side. I don't know, maybe a little bit easier, because obviously this one is at a severe disadvantage based on the thickness. And then, as per usual, I like putting down some washi before I glue anything down. Oh yes, this would be lovely with it, I think. So yeah, I was doing porch pickups, so the people just left the clothing in plastic bags on their porches, and so you can't really try them on. So it comes with a little bit of a risk, but yeah, I just went with brands that I had experience with, and so got a really, really good deal. So that was kind of fun. And then I do need glue, because this is obviously not, and then maybe I should also have a paper. There we go, so we don't get the glue all over the place. Knowing myself, that is likely. Yeah, let me know. Are you someone who likes thrifting? What is your favorite thing to thrift? I have had very good luck in the past with thrifting picture frames. I found some, or both my husband and I found some very lovely frames at Goodwill. Their local Goodwill store. Yeah, just really, really pretty. So I think we barely have any new picture frames in our house. I think they're pretty much all second-hand. Okay, there we go. I guess one of my I guess buying secondhand and thrifting, I guess, is not necessarily the same thing. Do we just sit her there or down here? Is that weird if they overlap and it's like pen, pen, pen? Pen, pen, pen. Yeah, maybe we'll sit her down there. Like so, maybe? Yeah. Cute. And then flowers would be in my other... Oh, and look here. I think I pulled that out last time too. There's some, like that ink bottle with that feather would be fun, even though, of course, a pen is like instead of having a feather, but the colors, that golden color would look nice. But we could also do that ink bottle. So many choices, my. I was actually just gonna look and see if we have, whoops, some sort of floral to go with this. As you know, I like to have, if there is a way to include a floral, I'll include a floral. Because why not? It's so pretty. And then these are Erin Ware. We could also do this lovely little star. Going like, yay, new things. They're pretty. I actually kind of like that. I'm also kind of now becoming aware that either we leave this as really pretty blank space, because I do want to do a little bit of writing. I could also sit that below, and then that opens up or breaks up that stark line there, if we're also gonna do the writing right there. Not sure if any of that just made sense, but here we go. Okay, cute. Yeah, I've only done... Oh, I'm gonna open this. I'll be right back. What I was gonna say, the only other spread is the one previous to this, so I haven't done that many spreads in here, so I'm still getting used to the layout a little bit. Yeah, do we need anything else though? Is the question always. I mean, I would like this ink bottle, but I feel like I would like it if it was maybe a little smaller. I think this is a little big now. Okay. All that worrying about the plastic noise is for nothing, but that's okay. Let's see here. Ooh. Do we want to... Or is the floral now too much if we're already having a shooting star? Maybe. I do feel like we need one other little element. You know, a stamp might be nice, just to change it up and have something directly on the page, or a little doodle. There's something about... So the stickers, for example, I think of them as on the same level if it has like layers, if you think in layers, and the washi tape is a little bit closer to the paper because it's so thin and it melts into the page. And so it just would be nice to have something else like that, and I would, in my mind, that something could be a stamp or a drawing. And I hope this doesn't sound insane. In the way I'm thinking of varying the depth, I guess. I just think that sometimes can lead to very interesting page layouts. But yeah, maybe we just need to pull out my stamps. Hold on. So we have this little container here with some stamps. And we do have these pretty flowers. And some other texture-y stamps. maybe. And then I also have these. Whoops, you can't really see. There's the ladies. That's maybe out. I have this. This is a favorite of mine. There are these, I think you can tell, yeah. There are these clovers that form somewhat of a circle. And I do find that that is a really nice way of, again, tying things together. And there's a hair, my goodness. Tying things together and creating these fun, interesting interactions of layers. Yeah. But I think with the star down there, I don't know if that is the answer, really. And then we do have these. And of course, I would stamp them the other way. I wish this little girl here, that was, and this frame was included twice, mirrored as well, so you could really use them anywhere. But, oh well. Yeah, I mean, but that would work, wouldn't it? Hold on, I'll get it out. Yeah. That would be stamped like this. Could emphasize the corner there. What do you think? Is that silly? If I put the shooting star down there to break up the rigidity of the photo, and now I'm contemplating putting on a stamp that would reinforce it. Oh, and the long side is down here. And that wouldn't even fit. Yeah, okay. Well, well. I could also do some lettering here, going up this direction, and then do a little bit of writing, but I don't know if I like that. You know, maybe we do just need a little doodle of a little ink holder thing. Right here. Yeah. I've also seen this one creator. Here's me luring you in, saying that this is going to be a journal with me, and nothing happens on the page. I'm just testing out 1,000 different options. Who is often doing like washi just up the page. But I don't know. I don't know if I can pull that off. We'll stick with the doodle. I know I can doodle. Let's stop trying out options, maybe. And then, since we're gonna draw there too, then let's switch over. And I'm probably gonna put... Let's see if we can just put another notebook underneath there to even that out. What does it look like on camera? Yeah, I think that's okay. Might zoom you in too. For doodling, I have a really nice color in here, and how fitting would it be to use the pen that I'm journaling about, or at least one of them. And then for this side, we might do this one right here. Yes. And I have my pencil ready. I couldn't find my favorite pencil, so that's a problem. That is no good. Okay, let's zoom you in a little. How about that? Okay, here goes nothing. I think for the ink bottle, I think I'm gonna go in without a sketch, which might be risky, but let's be bold. Okay, so where do we want to have that sit? Maybe right here? Okay, I usually start at the bottle opening, the neck, and usually I give it 2 threads, I guess, is where the cat would snag it. Maybe like so. And this beautiful ink is Sailor Tsurubami? Obama? I have to look up what exactly the... And now I feel like you always have 2 choices. Either put an ink label on there or draw ink in it. I think I'm gonna draw the label today. as if there was a sticker on here. Like so, maybe? And then let's try to write ink. Yeah. Okay, cool. And this is either just to just emphasize the bottle or to just go fun splashing ink. I'm not sure. And then do I want to do something in terms of more of an emphasized heading? And do we want to switch color? Yes, I think we do. Look at me finding excuses to pull out more and more pens. This is the Leonardo Momento Magico. And this has Tiramisu Opera Rose in it. And I think that would be fun to pair with the Tsurubami. And let's just write out new pens. And do I know what I'm doing? I do not. Okay. I have just a handful of ways of how I like to do lettering, but sometimes I just start without making up my mind, which is a little dangerous. And then sometimes letters don't go together. Yeah, I think that works. New pens. Does pens still fit? I think I'm gonna go into the next line. I'm just too scared of the S just barely hanging on there. That is, well, I don't know if pet peeve is maybe a little bit too strong a word, but it bothers me. It low-key bothers me. If I could have just gone to the next line, and I didn't, and I should have. I've also noticed, and I don't know if you can tell on camera, you can see the lines from the next page, even though obviously the lines are only going about half the page. But yeah, it's really quote-unquote easy to write on this side too, because Midori paper is thin enough that you can see the lines there, which is nice. And that line right there got a little long there, but I think we're still okay. No pens. Yeah, this ink, I need to do a currently inked. This Tiramisu Opera Rose is one of those inks that I have heard mentioned quite a few times, and because it seems so ubiquitous in a way in terms of hearing it mentioned, and it's sort of like a go-to for a lot of people, that I always forgot to order a sample for myself and try it out myself. And finally I did, and I'm so glad because I love it. It just goes with so many of my stationery items that I love in terms of my overall color palette, and it just, yeah, I'm very happy to have it, at least in a sample for now. Alright, and then I can just fill in some more writing right here, and I'm probably gonna do that off camera. And that is that then. And I think I'm gonna leave you zoomed in so you can see what I'm sketching. How about that? So the things of Facebook Marketplace, I bought a shirt and a pair of pants, and either I could draw myself wearing those two items, although I'm not sure, I haven't tried out yet if if they go together. So I think I'm just gonna draw them separately. And then do I want a heading here too? Maybe. I'll maybe leave a little bit of space up top so I can make up my mind. But yeah, the shirt that I got was just a Madewell shirt, like with a collar and things. Now I usually roll up my sleeves, so I'm just gonna pretend this shirt had, or is the way I would wear it, which is with the sleeves rolled up. Can you see? Yeah. So, and maybe, yeah, I can zoom you in a little further. Whoops. Okay, I think that's better. So when I draw clothing, I draw it really flat, just as in everything else. And so I just really think about the shapes. I'm not concerned about wrinkles. I'm not concerned about dimensionality of how it would fall if it was on a person. So, you know, really the sleeves are a tube. And sometimes I like to make it a little bit more of a trapezoid, so there's a little bit of a taper to the sleeves, which I just think makes it look a little bit more elegant and fun. Usually if you can give shapes a little bit of a dynamic, then yeah, that just turns out fun, and you can make that more extreme or less extreme as you like, but there's something about having it not, the lines not be entirely parallel. So here, for example, I can have these two parallel, and that feels really calm and, well, I don't know if stark is the right word, but even if I just give this line right here a little bit of a different angle, maybe that's just going slightly more right here. And so as you can see now, these two are not parallel anymore, and it already has a little bit of a different character. And again, you can do that more or less extreme depending on what you prefer in terms of style. So I would probably go with something like this, and then I'm pretty sure this has buttons, and maybe those are a little bit big. Could probably make those a little bit thinner. And then here again, so for example, I could have this horizontal line very much like a horizontal line, but maybe then this is a little bit more angled, just to, again, give it a little bit more character. And then, as always, once you were able to see the drawing, I go in with my kneaded eraser to lighten the lines before I go over it with ink. Ooh, that is a little smudgy there. Oh, why do I not know where my favorite pencil is? That is the question. And now you can, well, you can somewhat see it. But let's go into the pants. And I'm also thinking, so maybe I'll write something about the shirt right here. So if you want to make it, in terms of the layout of the page, I could go and put the pants here underneath it, or do I find it fun to switch things up? I think I want to switch things up. So then here it's drawing text and then doing text drawing. I think that's quite cute. For the pants, these were, or these are, they're kind of elevated joggers, if you will. They're out of that thick, almost sweatshirt material, but they're black, and they have this really cool pleat going down the middle of the, I don't know, that's probably not called a pleat, is it? If it goes all the way down the leg. I'm not quite sure what the language is there for this, what the word is. But yeah. And they're really, really comfy because they have a elastic waistband, but because of the black color and then some of the cut details make it just that little bit more elegant. You know, you can, it would definitely be something where I would feel okay with lounging in the house, but then also going grocery shopping and things. And I know that different people have different thresholds, I guess, what is or isn't grocery wear, I guess. Or like for the plane, this is nice because it's so stretchy. Yeah, okay. That obviously pants. I could, sometimes it's also fun if you do draw pieces of clothing and they're not on a person, you can bend something as if, like for example, if this is the sleeve, you could like fold it over itself to create some interesting variation in the lines, but I think I'm pretty happy with this. Okay. And I think I'm just gonna pick up the colors from this other page since these two obviously go together more or less. And so we'll go with this. This has a medium 14K nib, which I've recently just fallen in love with. So nice. And I think I've mentioned that before, and I'm sorry if you're not into fountain pens, but I think sailor nibs were one of my biggest revelations when it comes to fountain pens last year. I always thought I wouldn't like the feedback, and now it seems like it's so good for drawing. It makes me feel like I have more control over the lines, and I really enjoy that. Who would have thought? Just one of those things that really goes to show that you just sometimes have to try things, and I know that with fountain pens that can obviously be a very expensive thing to try. But yeah, just like that. And this has actually a green color, which maybe we can pull out some Tombos. I've mentioned that before. I've recently been doing some things where I just go in with a marker, even with inks that are not waterproof. So I couldn't go in here with watercolor necessarily, only if I was really careful. But you can, it's easy to control a marker, and therefore it's easy to stay away from the lines enough to be safe with a marker. Something else, if you have something that is very quote-unquote rigid or simple, sometimes you can make a drawing more interesting even by just keeping the lines a little bit more loose and a little bit more, have a little bit more character. And for that, it can be nice to hold the pen further back so that you have less control, and then you just go really soft and you just wiggle it a little, just here and there. And I don't know if you can tell what I mean by that, but yeah. How are you doing? How are your new journals? Everything still going like you hoped? I am having a really good time. I think I mentioned that in my last journal with me video as well. It really feels like I made good choices. I'm having fun with the notebooks, and I don't feel behind in anything or regret anything, so that's been really good. Yeah, what do we think? Really basic, but gets the point across. And let's zoom you out just slightly. Here we go. And then, do we think that this is dry already? There's a couple more pencil lines we could get rid of. Maybe we'll wait with the pans. Okay. Let's see what we have in terms of markers. I could also just go in with a general beige color. That's an option if I don't care about color accuracy. But this one is like a really dark foresty green. This isn't even close to being dark enough, but I think maybe in terms of the drawing this would still fit and not swallow up all the lines. And then as for this being black, maybe like a dark sepia would be nice. Yeah. I also have an Ecoline sepia. I've been, these are new. I've been trying these out to see if how I like them. Because if I'm understanding this text correctly, then these are light fast, which in a journal is, I don't know if that really matters. So yeah, I'm a little bit concerned that I'm gonna not like adding color to this. What to do? I could just do really little. Just keep it really sketchy and really not do it all the way. Like so, maybe? What do we think? This is all, it's happening live, people. Yeah. I mean, then at least, you know, there's some indication of what color it is, but I'm not running the risk of this. Sometimes I feel like markers can get really dark really quickly, and then everything is just swallowed up in this marker darkness. I don't know if you know what I mean. Yeah, something like that. Do I even go in the inside? I mean, I did make that line over there. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, see, this is almost too dark for the line color. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's still okay. Now, the pants is obviously a different matter. I think I'm gonna do the Ecoline because I know that I like the tip of these. These are pretty smooth. I actually prefer these to the Tombows, but I feel like they don't have as many colors. But they are refillable, so that's nice. And you can even, if you buy the refill inks, you can also mix your own colors, which is really fun. I do want to try that out. Because, yeah, I've noticed that I prefer my markers to be somewhat light, because again, it lets you see the lines. Like, for example, this one now. I mean, I was talking about all that wiggly line work, and how much of that can you actually still see? So, but yeah, that's fun. And something that I'm also just now noticing with this fun shooting star here, we could pick up some of this star shape and just do like an emphasizing, yay, new shirt, and yay, new pants. You know? And then we could give that a fun color, or do we pick up the fact that this is black and be really contrasty? That might be nice. Or like yeah, definitely a dark color, because I mean, this photo also has some darks in there. Yeah, let's do that. Well, actually, I had pulled out this pen, which has document sepia in it, because at first I thought I was going to use that for the lines. Yeah, let's just fill that in all the way and make it super dark. Oh boy, being really brave with you today, but maybe that's good. Maybe I feel like the other spread that I've done in here so far has been, I mean, I like how it came out, but yeah, I've been definitely, because this is new, I've been feeling a little timid. I need to get comfortable with this book. But also, yeah, it's a new layout, so that does tend to happen. But also, I've been loving how things have turned out so far, and so this feels really precious to me. And that tends to be something where then I'm less likely to experiment and just go for things. Do you experience that? Especially at the beginning, and then you get looser or bolder when things progress. But yeah, filming yourself journaling or making art definitely leads to some quicker decision making. At least for me, it does. Because I know you are watching, and although there's obviously something to be said about just having the company and just having someone to listen to, still there's a sort of flow that I'm trying to engage or create. Yeah. So tick, tick, tick. I have a little stars now. What do you think about that? Is that too much? Or is that kind of fun? Jury is still out, I think. But yeah, let me put in some of the writing. Maybe I'll make up my mind about the heading, and then I'll show you the end result in just a moment. The desk is messy and the page is done. That is just how that goes, I guess. And as you can see, I was able to find 2 spaces for stamps after all. Yay! Makes me very happy. I do want to use my stamps more. So here are the Dodolulu ladies just parading, being happy that I found some secondhand clothing items. They're so cute. And then yeah, just filled in the writing, and I did put in a strip of washi, the same that I used up here. So that ties those pages together nicely, I think. And then yeah, included this pattern or texture stamp right there. And yeah, I think that brings some interest to this side here without being too overwhelming, I think. And then yeah, filled in the writing there. And overall, I'm pretty happy how these turned out. Again, this is still all very new. This is the previous spread that I created, which yeah, I really love how these turned out too. And I'm excited to see how this all fills in and how I'm gonna do, how these pages are gonna compare to the pages at the end. And I mean, you know, not that I'm looking for any specific changes necessarily, but it's always interesting how that evolves, and sometimes you can even see that within one journal. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and that you're curious to see more of this journal and my others. And if you want to let me know that you've made it this far in the video, leave me a balloon emoji. Balloons are joyful, right? And who doesn't want a little bit of joy in their lives? So yeah, if you feel like it, leave me a balloon emoji. And thank you so much for sharing this time with me, and I hope you're doing okay there. And until next time, happy journaling.